Hey guys, welcome back to the Max Spence Business Podcast. Today I have a very special guest, but before I jump into that, if you guys like the content I'm putting out, the people I'm interviewing, please, like, subscribe, leave a review. I would love for you to go over to Apple Podcast and actually, leave a like and also a review of the podcast. But without further ado, so today's guest is Matt Shackell. So Matt Shackell is with CBRE. He's an industrial sales agent. It's great having you on the show, Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Max. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So why don't we jump into the intro a little bit about, who you are and sort of what got you into real estate and the industrial side of real estate?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So my father, Ian Shackell, has been in the business for almost 30 years now. And him and his old partner, Jim Shotton, were the ones that founded CBRE in Ottawa 20 years ago last year. So we're on our 21st year. And I've been with the company for about 4 years now and licensed for 3 years. So real estate was kind of in the family. Like I said, my dad has been in it for quite some time. And I kind of thought after leaving university, that is what I wanted to do. And ever since getting into the field, I've enjoyed it. It's been challenging for sure, but for the most part, it is quite rewarding at the end of the day when you put the hard work and time into it.
Awesome. So, so you got into the industrial side with your dad and stuff. So what were the first few years like when you actually jumped into making that transition from, university to actually going into industrial sales?
Yeah, no. So coming out of university was it was a huge challenge because again, 4 years at Dalhousie University, living a life with my best friends and going to school. And again, you're a student. There's not a whole whack of responsibilities. And when you come into the real world and take a job with people that are quite professional at what they've been doing here in the real estate community here in Ottawa, especially at CBRE, we're known to be the best of the best in Ottawa's commercial real estate world. So it was a bit of a wake-up call. Again, I was no longer a student. I was, I guess, kind of the runt of the office starting out. But I learned pretty quickly that, if you put the hard work and the time into it and the knowledge and you listen to your peers and your colleagues, that you will learn quite a bit very quickly. And again, I've learned a lot through my father. And again, we're now partners in the business. So just had my ears open and I was ready to listen, and it kind of came naturally over time.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. I've actually seen some of your posts on LinkedIn and stuff, and you guys are doing quite well with the properties you're selling and also listing. Like, you guys are pretty active. Like, every sort of month you have like another sale or another thing happening, and they're not like small; they're quite big deals that you guys are doing, which is awesome for your guys' team and stuff. Which must be pretty exciting on your end.
No, for sure. I appreciate that. Definitely that's come over, I guess, again, the last 3 years of trying to build a pipeline and, build a network of clients that are willing to use you and use your services. So, getting those listings is one thing, and then it's a completely different thing to sell it and have a successful transaction occur. But it takes that time and that effort in putting the puzzle pieces together. I mean, Ottawa is small enough where you typically find a buyer for a property or a seller that's willing to sell. Again, it is quite tough to convince someone to sell and, demonstrate to them what market prices are and what the values are of the industrial real estate world. So putting those puzzle pieces together would be the hardest thing to do, but it is very rewarding, like I said before, when you close a deal.
Yeah.
And everyone's happy at the end of the day.
Awesome. So, what like you were saying, you spent a lot of time in the first 3 years developing a lot of new business for your guys' team and stuff. What did that sort of involve? Let's say if somebody's like a real estate agent that's just getting into, let's say, commercial real estate or residential real estate, and they sort of have ambition or goals of going into commercial class real estate. What did you sort of do to what was your sort of day in the life, sort of trying to expand the business?
Yeah, so first things first is you got to learn the market and understand who the players are, who the tenants are, who the owner occupiers are, who the investors are, the pension funds. You got to understand it from A to Z. You got to understand the vacancy rate, the market nodes, the east end, the west end, south end, and again, what tenants are in the market for space. So the most challenging part I had was trying to put, again, all those puzzle pieces together. You may see a large tenant out looking for space, and you have a listing that could work for them, but then there's another 10 other listings that could work for them as well that aren't your listings. So you can only really control your product. But yeah, for the most part, it's really about getting out there, door knocking, getting your face in front of people, hoping to get a few signs up in the process. Because signage is huge here in Ottawa because it's a smaller market and people will recognize your names and your branding and your logo. But again, it's getting your stride and building that confidence, because when you come in, you're at zero. You're at ground zero. You've got nothing. You've got no background, and you just got to go out there and be confident and hope that people rely on you and will want to use your services. And it's not simple, but it is simple to explain. You got to demonstrate to someone that, hey, here's the value of using us. Here's why. Here's our track record. And again, that helped having my father, who's been in the business forever, to be able to say, here's my senior partner. We're a team. This is how we work. And we've been very successful over the last 3 years. Again, since I've joined the company, or since I've more specifically been licensed. Yeah, you kind of build your pipeline off of that. And again, it's really about putting those puzzle pieces together and matching up. Okay, who can go where? Who wants to buy what? Who wants to sell? What's the price? And then convincing everyone to basically go and do it. And here's the reason why.
Yeah, and that must also have its own challenges in itself, trying to be like, well, like, you guys should sell now because of this reason. The market's at its highest it's ever been, and there's buyers looking for your property, and trying to convince everybody that on some sort of price to sort of negotiate and stuff must be pretty challenging.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and like you said, we are dealing with properties that are typically over $1 million, and some of them are in the tens of millions of dollars. So trying to work those numbers on the investment side when you have an investment property is completely different from selling just vacant land or an owner-occupier vacant industrial building or whatever really the asset class is. So you kind of got to wear your thinking cap for each deal and then put your hat on whatever asset class you're selling. And if it's like, again, vacant land, an industrial property, that's pure investment, or just an owner-occupier investment, or not even an investment property, it's a vacant industrial building. So again, we've got clients out there that have all different types of requirements, and it's just trying to fulfill their needs and see where they can go and what the solution we can offer them best.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So I sort of want to jump now into, so what sort of happened, like, we're in this pandemic. I know, like, what I've seen is that the industrial market's been performing quite well. I don't know if that's still the case, or what's sort of happening with the industrial market right now in Ottawa.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So if you, I guess, rewind back to March is when COVID really hit. Everyone kind of hit the brakes right away. Our investment deals, our lease deals, you name it, all kind of got put on hold because there's this major uncertainty, in the market that what's going to happen. No one knew how long this was going to last for. And if you were to ask us back then in March, hey, would we be doing this here in October? People would probably say, no, we'd be fine. But here we are in it. We're all trying to get through it. But for the most part, like, listen, since March, it's been there's been ebbs and flows and ups and downs. It was very quiet when this first happened, and we're all trying to understand what to do. How do we better ourselves? How do we make our clients more comfortable and aware of what's happening? So we're all in kind of panic mode and emergency mode, where we say, hey, we got to reach out to all our clients and have them understand what's happening and let them know that we're here for a resource. Whether they need to sell, they need, concrete evidence and information of what to do and what's happening in the market. And ultimately, it was just kind of to be there for them during this time and all these uncertainties. So, and that was really mostly for our tenants that have just signed large leases that are, looking to, or that are had 5-year deals and they're now stopped dead in their tracks, and their business revenues are now at almost zero. So, that being said, that was the start of it, is, okay, what do we do? How do we plan? And then as the months went on, no one was allowed in the office. We're all working from home. We were just, again, continuing to support our clients. We were not building a pipeline. We were not reaching out to our, to dig up more new business, because we knew it wasn't the right time, and we didn't want to be seen as ambulance chasers. And we knew that if we stick with our existing deals and our clients that are out there, that we will get through this at the end of the day. So again, fast forward to, I guess, 7 or 8 months now here in October, the industrial market's still doing quite well. I mean, I think a lot of tenants out there and buyers out there were hoping for a major price reduction or the prices to drop significantly, but that did not happen. So for the most part, our clients and our investors and, everyone that we deal with on a day-to-day basis are doing quite well. Obviously, you do hear the odd story of someone that cannot afford their rent, regardless of the government stepping in and subsidizing as much as they could. But you're going to get that story everywhere, and it's much better than the office market and obviously the retail market. So we are quite fortunate to be playing in the industrial market specifically. But I would say for the most part, it's doing quite well. Our vacancy rate's still low. It's still hovering around 2 to 2.5%. We still have a handful of investors that are looking at finishing off buildings, speccing new buildings. We got about another 500,000 square feet with one landlord, so 280,000 square feet in the east end, and then another 150, and then another 50,000 square feet that are going to be getting specced over the next 3 to 5 years. So there's a healthy pipeline. Well, without me rambling on too much, but I think what we're going to see here moving forward is all the uncertainty with, okay, how are we going to pay for this? Because right now we're in trillions of debt. The government has not admitted it, but I think we all know it's coming. So when the government revisits their budgets, the interesting part is, okay, now what's going to happen? Our taxes are probably going to go up. Our not just our personal, but our property taxes, the rent relief programs will be over. Just expenses in general will be going up, and I think that's when we're really going to feel the pain. Again, I'm not trying to be a bearer of bad news, but I think we will start feeling more pain then, because right now we've kind of put a Band-Aid on it. We stopped the bleeding a little bit, and then now it's going to be a slow kind of process trying to refix and recoup the money that we've spent over this last 6 to 8 months. So.
Yeah. I agree with you with that. And that's what I've heard from quite a few different investors, is that like right now, because the government just flooded the market with so much money, and the US did the exact same, that right now everything's fine. Like everything's like, well, it's not fine, but everything is not as bad as what people expected it to be, with like, the crash. And, probably the investors were looking at, the Ottawa real estate market and being like, oh, like prices are going to go down, so maybe I can pick up some properties. But that didn't happen, because there's just been an influx of money to, help pretty much, help stabilize the market. And yeah, I do believe that over the coming years, because the government's taking this money from somewhere, right? So they're bringing this money in from somewhere. So when when they go back and now they're going to start raising stuff, that's when you're probably going to see things start to drop in the coming years and stuff. So like over the past couple of years, has the industrial market just been considerably just rising? Like did this take a bit of a slump, or is it still back up to where it was like in 2019?
Yeah, so if we even backdate a little bit further, when I first joined the business, we were doing deals at $8.50 to $9. Everything was basically under $10 a square foot net, obviously plus your tax and operating costs and whatnot. But it's astronomically gone up over the last 3 years, and people kind of ask why. But it's because Ottawa's got low vacancy rates. We've got landlords that, we don't have really, leading up to this, we never really had a traditional developer that would go out there and just spec hundreds and thousands of square feet. And now we have these investors that are looking at doing that just because of how higher net rents are. I mean, again, it kind of varies, from square footage to square footage. But if you look at a 2,000 to 5,000 square foot deal, we're seeing net rents pushing $18 a square foot, or like $15 a square foot, and now new builds, because our construction costs are so high and land costs are so high, we're even seeing deals done at $16 a square foot net out in Vars, which is about 15 minutes outside of Ottawa, and that's ranging from 10,000 square feet to 50,000 square feet. So it's unfortunate because, again, we have high development costs. We have the land is significantly skyrocketed in the last couple of years. And then construction costs are so high. Like to build an industrial building, it's around $200 a square foot. But we don't have those, economies of scale like the larger markets like Toronto and Vancouver, where they've got these large developers that are, speccing 500,000 square feet, or they've got 100,000 square foot tenants in the hopper, and they'll go build the rest of the building for them. So it's a different market to play in. It's a challenge. It's really hard to explain to tenants and groups that aren't from Ottawa to say, this is why Ottawa is so expensive. It is what it is. Like we're working on a deal right now, and the group's going, I can't fathom paying, 10 to 12 bucks a square foot over a 7-year deal with those escalations. So, and you explain to them, like, that is a pretty good deal here in the Ottawa market for roughly 15,000 square feet. So there's definitely challenges, and it's hard to explain to some groups, but it is what it is. I don't see the net rents for industrial space going down anytime soon, if ever. They'll plateau. They definitely will plateau, because it won't be sustainable to be paying, anything over $12.50 to $14 a square foot is just, it's astronomical. It's too expensive. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it'll be very interesting to see what happens here, in the next year or so.
Yeah. So, is it like a lot of outside capital that's coming in? That's is it outside investment groups that are coming to Ottawa to construct these industrial buildings and stuff like that, or is it more like Ottawa-based companies that are starting?
It's definitely more Ottawa-based companies, and it's funny, we're seeing a lot of private capital groups that are doing it. We've got a landlord, Mega Holdings, Ramesh Sarna, who came to Canada years and years and years ago, opened up a furniture company, and now he's got over 500,000 square feet of industrial product, simply because he's had the courage to go inspect these buildings. And I'm a huge believer, if you build it, they will come, and it's very true. If you have a sign out there that says design, build, 100,000 square feet, well, that sign's going to sit there for a very long time. Whereas if you have a sign out there saying for lease, occupancy, August 2021 or whatever it is, you will see tenants come, because they will see that there's construction going on and there will be a building there in X amount of months or years. So we don't really have a large industrial developer from out of Montreal or Toronto or any of those larger markets. We do have one, actually, this group I'm wearing here, Rosefellow. They're brand new. They started about 8 months ago. They bought some land in Montreal, and then they also bought land in Castleman, which is about 35 minutes outside of Ottawa. And they're planning on speccing, a couple 100,000 square feet. So again, it would be a lot easier if you had a tenant in play, but it's hard to get a tenant prior to a building going up in this market. In Toronto and Vancouver, in the larger markets, a little bit easier, but here in Ottawa, it's a challenge. So. To answer your question, no, we don't have too many groups coming from out of town that are saying, hey, let's be in Ottawa.
Oh, okay. And what are a majority of like tenants looking for? Are they looking for like light industrial, heavy industrial, like logistical, sort of like, logistical bay sort of stuff for trucks and all that sort of stuff? Or what are they sort of looking for?
Well, yeah, that's a really good point you bring up. So there's a mixed bag, and it's a healthy mixed bag of groups. Right now, we're seeing a lot of logistics firms, and it's specifically because of Amazon. They've got their 1 million square feet on Amazon on Boundary Road, and they're now building 450,000 square foot building, escalating to or expanding to 2.8 million square feet in Barrhaven there, just off the 416. So we're seeing a lot of groups that are kind of hovering around them, because they know that there's going to be business for them if they can situate themselves here in Ottawa and can accommodate their large masses of packages coming and going, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, we did a deal with a large courier company just out on Boundary Road for 20,000 square feet for 10 years. We're seeing a lot more courier companies and logistics firms that are saying, hey, we need to be here specifically because of Amazon. And we're doing a fair amount of those deals. That being said, we still are doing the light industrial users, small manufacturing, the heavy industrial users that need that heavy outdoor storage and parking and whatnot. But for the most part, recently it's been logistics users.
Oh, okay.
E-commerce. Yeah.
Okay, and the majority of tenants, like you're saying, like the logistical people are looking around where Amazon are building right now. So that must be like a hot spot right now for those types of industrial buildings where people want to be around Amazon to sort of pick up that business that's going to be coming from them.
Yeah, no, exactly. And we just adjacent from Amazon, we've got up to 25 acres. We're in the process of putting on the market for sale / for lease. We have the developer that owns it, who's got plans to build up to 500,000 square feet of industrial product. Again, they won't go inspect that here in Ottawa because that's too big of a risk, but they would consider putting up, 100,000 square feet at a time and leasing it out. So we're just going through the homework and studies of that to see what our best option is. And then I hope that we can get some traction on it because it's right across the street from Amazon. Again, 417 highway accessibility into Montreal and into Ottawa. It really is a great area, and there's a reason why Amazon went out there.
Okay. Besides Amazon, are you seeing other areas that are getting some pretty interesting movement with like industrial class buildings, like in Canada or anywhere, like, or maybe is it more like the east side or south, or where are you sort of seeing some more like growth happening?
Yeah, a lot of the growth is happening in, I would say it's Ottawa as a whole, but for the markets specifically, the East End has always been very strong. It's where our largest industrial space is. It's called Belfast Sheffield area. And then, within Canada, where there's super low vacancy rates, I'd almost consider it, 0.5 or even 0% vacancy. We do have a landlord there that's speccing 100,000 square feet that will be ready in about a year and a half time from now. So, yeah, it's a mixed bag, right? And then we are seeing our industrial market expand out to Hawthorne and Rideau Road. And that's where we've got, 60 acres of land conditionally sold to, again, a variety of groups, whether they're small investors or storage groups and whatnot. So that's another node that's going to be expanding. And again, it's Ottawa, so it happens, but it happens very slowly where we see the market to expand. But yeah, for the most part, there's some healthy growth that we are seeing, and it's nothing like Toronto or Vancouver or Montreal as they keep bringing up those large markets, but it's still a healthy market to be active in.
Yeah. I remember talking to you previously, and about there was I think it was a lady that was doing something in Toronto, and she gave you like she like sort of like referred a deal down here, and this was like a small deal to her or something, because like over there with the amount of like industrial space that they have, it's like insane this type of like the type of buildings they're selling and the type of square footage they're leasing, which is
you're absolutely right. I mean, in Toronto, they're doing 50,000 square foot plus to deals that are 700,000 square feet. Like, that's not unheard of. Here in Ottawa, our average deal size is probably 5,000 square feet to 20,000 square feet. That's why you really got to have a grasp on the market, and you got to have those listings to get your name out there, or else you'll be having a hard time kind of getting your name out there and having people understand who you are and what you do. So again, it's a great market to work in here in Ottawa. I think Ottawa is quite underrated, actually, as a city as a whole. It's a beautiful city. Again, you can get to cottage country from within an hour. You're not having to be in that terrible traffic and whatnot. And no, we're very fortunate to have a large office here and a good presence. We've got a lot of the overall industrial market. We have a very good grip on it. So again, you can't compare it to the larger markets, but it's still a very strong market here.
Yeah. So, that's pretty interesting. So, are you seeing any companies doing some like, with like the technology advancements that are happening right now with, like 5G and all that sort of stuff? Are you seeing anything that's happening with industrial buildings that's like, with the tech side of it? Are you seeing like anything new that's being put into buildings or tenants are looking for in buildings?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that's specifically new regarding technology-wise. I mean, most of these buildings that we have under construction right now are typical, 32-foot clear height. We've got the dock loading doors. So, for example, the one in Vars, 379 Corduroy Road, is 100,000 square feet. We just finished construction in August. It's got 2 dock doors every 5,000 square feet. They've got the levelers, they've got the lights, they've got the automatic garages. Got everything, all the bells and whistles, LED lights, all automatic. At the end of the day, an industrial building is just a large box, so there's nothing that's too spectacular about it. I mean, if you went into Amazon's building or Giant Tiger's, facility out in Johnstown that's 600,000 square feet. You would see the robotics, you would see everything. It's absolutely stunning, and it's amazing to see what us humans can come up with, the full packages and then throw them on a trailer. But for the most part, no, these buildings are just large boxes that can accommodate basically anything inside them. So nothing too out of the ordinary.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah. I guess that would probably be more with like the office spaces where, well, the office space market must be in a huge change up right now with like, with new technology coming in and how they're going to be doing stuff, and then also with COVID and then spacing and all that sort of stuff. It must be just like, must be crazy.
Yeah, the office space is definitely. Listen, I think it will come back. Like it's definitely changed. There's no question. I don't think it's going to come back to 100%. I do think people will be working from home more often and have that flexibility. The biggest thing to me, and I think most of these business owners and governments and sectors and whatnot, is the productivity level. The productivity level can be just as good, if not better. Then by all means, have your employees work from home 2 to 3 days a week or whatever makes sense. But I don't know. Like I'm not. I don't focus on that asset class too much. So, I do know that if I was a business owner and I was looking for more space, I would put that on hold right now because of all the uncertainty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's expensive. Also, office space is expensive. It's an investment for that group. It's a place where you want to bring your employees in and collaborate. But I think a lot of people are kind of getting used to these Zoom calls and whatnot. So I don't know, at the end of the day, I hope and I do think it will go back to somewhat normal, but I don't think it's going to be at the 100% mark where everyone was going in the office, 5 days a week. I don't think it will be like that.
Yeah. So how have you sort of found that? Like, do you miss the office environment, or do you actually prefer working at home and doing stuff like this? Like, how have you sort of found it?
Yeah, no. So for me, it's different. I'm only 25 years old. I don't have kids, not married. I do have a girlfriend, but I don't have those at home, I guess, struggles and challenges. So it's different. But for me, it was hard at first. I was going into the office every day, and obviously I'm on the road a lot with tours and whatnot. But to not have your double monitors, to not have your support staff, your printing, your scanning, and then just that social aspect of being in the office and socializing with everybody I miss, and going for drinks at the end of the week every so often, and Christmas parties and summer socials and gatherings. Again, I miss that a lot. I'm a very social guy and I like getting out. But we've made it work. Again, I went out and I bought a monitor right away to make sure I can have my dual screen, so I can have my email on one and PowerPoints on other, or whatever I'm working on. But yeah, it's a challenge for sure. And we've now been allowed back into our office with all of these restrictions, which has been great. But we're not quite there yet where we can all be in at once and we're all gathering together in the boardroom to go over our strategies for the week or whatever it is. So for me, I've been very fortunate during COVID, but I can only imagine if I had a family and a couple of young kids running around, how that would be when you're on these calls, right, and whatnot. It'd be hard to focus. So.
Yeah. That's fully understandable. So I know we're coming to the end here, and thank you for answering all those the great questions and stuff, and with the answers and stuff. So. Is there anything else that you'd want to add? Anything else about the industrial market? Anything that's new that's happening at all?
Yeah, I mean, listen, without disclosing too much, there's going to be a lot of new and exciting things to come to Ottawa. We've got some large groups that are seriously looking at making Ottawa their home, and this is talking up to 500,000 square feet. It's going to create jobs. It's going to create a lot of noise in the market. We've got a few other projects that we're working on that are a little bit smaller, but again, they're going to create more space and more square footage. So yeah, it's again, it's a great market to be in. If you're ever looking to get into the commercial side of things, it's definitely a grind. If for all those younger people out there, because I'm one of them, I'm only 25 years old, it's definitely a grind, but with the hard work and time and just kind of sitting back and listening to the others around you, good things will come. But that, again, over time and putting those long hours and long days in, that good things do come. So yeah, it's a growing market. And it's funny, I was speaking with my father the other night just about the real estate market and how things have changed. There's a lot of younger people like myself that are coming up into it, and the older are kind of phasing out of it. So there's a great opportunity here in Ottawa for young people to get into this market and get a good grip on things. Yeah, so I would suggest to anyone that's looking at that is do your best, reach out to people in Ottawa here that manage these offices, whether it's Sean Hamilton at CBRE, there's, our competitors, Colliers, Fishman, Davis and Young, they're all, great firms. Again, we're the best. But yeah, no, it's a great industry, and it's a very tight knit community. The commercial real estate market is very tight knit. So
that is very true. Yeah, with the everybody sort of knows everybody in the commercial real estate world and stuff, which is pretty cool. Before we actually go, where can people actually find out more about your team and what you guys are doing? And let's say if they're looking to buy real estate or lease a space or something like that, how could they get into contact with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they can go on our website and type in Matt Shackell or Ian Shackell, CBRE Ottawa. You'll see our bios. You'll see all of our contact information there. You can go on LinkedIn, again, under my name, Matt Shackell, or Ian Shackell. You'll be able to see us. You can shoot us a message on there or whatever makes sense, or give us a call. You'll see all of our information online. And we're always happy to have a chat and discuss not just the industrial market, but the overall commercial real estate market. We're always happy to chat about that.
Awesome. So, yeah, guys, well, thank you. If you made it to the end here, thank you very much for listening all the way through. Again, is just, subscribe, leave a comment, please. And if you can, go over to Apple Podcasts now and, like and leave a review. I highly recommend that you guys go onto LinkedIn and check out Matt Shackell. You can see some of his posts, some of the buildings that he's sold, and also get sort of a little bit more knowledge about what's happening with the industrial market in Ottawa. Well, it was great having you on the show, Matt.
Thanks, Max. I really appreciate it, man. And I hope you all the best.
Awesome.